thank you for coming in quietly. We want to take a couple minutes to introduce a couple of special guests today. We have with us a friend who's an 8th grader at El Cerrito Intermediate. This is Adam, so let's give Adam a big welcome. He's going to speak to us a little bit today about Tourette syndrome, and he became an ambassador for that recently. So he's gone to schools and he's done some presentations about what it's like to have Tourette syndrome and to be an ambassador for Tourette syndrome. So he's going to have some questions afterwards. He has a presentation for us, and hope you enjoy it, okay? So let's give Adam a big welcome.
Okay, so my name's Adam Lutsky, like he just introduced me. Like he said, I'm in 8th grade. I attend El Cerrito Middle School. I'm here to talk to you guys about something called Tourette syndrome. Wait. So, have any of you guys heard of Tourette syndrome? And if you have heard of it, can you raise your hand? Tell me, what have you heard? What have you heard? Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay. You?
Some people just keep on doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain about that a lot in the presentation. You? Twitches. So I'm gonna move on. So the first thing that's important to know about Tourette syndrome is that it's a medical condition. I was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when I was maybe starting 3rd grade, maybe like 8 years old. Before I talk to you guys about Tourette syndrome, I'm going to show you guys a 3-minute clip of kids with Tourette syndrome, just to let you guys see kind of what it looks like, I guess.
About what Tourette's is and what it's like to have it.
Tourette syndrome is a certain brain defect.
It's a neurological problem that I was born with.
It causes you to tick.
Ticks control our bodies,
Kicking, like
coughing,
twitching, like snapping all the time, and do a lot of things people wouldn't like.
not contagious. They come all the time. Copy! It's there. Why do you have to make fun of it? They just think I'm real crazy.
A person who has Tourette's isn't like a whole another person. Like I'm a regular kid.
It feels weird because I'm in control of everything else. Why aren't I in control of that? Why can't I stop myself from doing that?
Well, there it is.
Should I hold back too much? You can't think of anything except holding them back, and you can't think of anything except doing them. That.
Didn't mean to.
I just feel kind of funny inside. I say why can't I stop doing this? Why can't I stop doing this?
If my hand doing through is really bad, I just hold it down on like a table and just take deep breaths or something and just kind of make them stop.
So it's it's like an itch. You have to scratch it. You just do it. It's controlling you in it, and you feel like you have to do it or else something's gonna happen. When I'm having a bad day and a lot of ticks are coming out, I go really pretty much crazy. Okay, note for you. Before you go to school, you really need to tell people that you have Tourette's, or else it's gonna be a big, big hard time for you.
They called me a monster. I felt like I was
evil. There's a point in a friendship with someone with Tourette's where they ask, I've always wondered, can you stop it? Can you just stop?
I had a tick with a really loud screeching noise all the kids would like tell me to stop and just keep staring at me. Stop it! And I would say, I can't.
Stand up, dust yourself off, and say, you know what, this sucks, but I'm gonna have to deal with it, you know?
Kids with Tourette syndrome are just like any other kid, just with a few disabilities. But overall, we're like you.
What did you guys think of the video? Raise your hands. You? Purple shirt? Oh, not you. Okay, yeah, you. It's kind of sad. You right next, right? Yeah, you? What? Oh, okay. With the hat. They were doing stuff, but I wouldn't say they don't usually do that, but they actually do usually do that. But I'm gonna explain a little more right now. So, Tourette syndrome is a medical condition, like I explained. What are some medical conditions you guys have heard of? Any raise your hands? Yeah. ADHD? Okay. Autism? In the back? Dyslexia? Okay, there's tons of medical conditions, but I'm not going to call on all 100 of you how many there is, but so just like maybe asthma, diabetes, or poor eyesight, Tourette syndrome is also a medical condition. You don't choose whether or not you have asthma, you also don't choose whether or not you have Tourette syndrome. And also, just like you'd never make fun of someone for walking down the street using their inhaler for their asthma, you'd also never make fun of someone for having Tourette syndrome. So, this is funny. There's a big difference between these two words, tick and tick. The tick, see right there, the spot says T-I-C-K. That's kind of like what is showing in the picture. It's a bug or gnat-like thing you might find on a cat or a dog. You know, a lot of people ask me, why am I doing these weird twitches? And I say, because I have Tourette syndrome, and they'll be like, so you have bugs all over you? I'm like, no, not at all. The tick, spelled T-I-C, is not a bug. It has nothing to do with the bug at all. A tick is, yes, it's not a bug at all. So what do I mean by the word tick? Well, a tick is an involuntary, A tick is an involuntary, repetitive movement that a person with Tourette syndrome has, but can't control. Ticks are involuntary, like I explained earlier. Oh no, I didn't explain that, but so what do I mean by involuntary? Well, it means I can't stop doing these ticks, just like you guys can't stop yourself maybe scratching an itch on the bottom of your foot, or sneezing, or coughing. Ticks are also repetitive, and repetitive means that I do these same sounds over and over again, sounds or movements over and over again, not just once. And I forgot to explain, a tick, spelled T-I-C, is the main symptom of Tourette syndrome. You guys are probably like, what? I didn't explain that. So there are two main types of ticks. One tick's called a motor tick, and one tick's called a vocal tick. A motor tick is a movement, A motor tick is a movement that a person with Tourette syndrome has but can't control. Some examples of motor ticks could be clapping, rolling your eyes, knocking your knees together. Some people, like me, also have something called internal motor ticks. And this is where a person moves internal muscles. Internal means like inside your body. So internal muscles, or straining internal muscles, instead of like movements like clapping your hands or nodding, they're inside. Like for instance, like an internal motor tick can be crunching your stomach or straining your neck. Those are internal motor ticks. There's also kind of a tick, and it's called a vocal tick. A vocal tick is a sound that a person with Tourette syndrome can't control. You guys got that? Alright, so there's no set checklist of ticks that every person with Tourette syndrome has. It pretty much varies from person to person. Like, not everybody with Tourette syndrome has to squeak. Not every person with Tourette syndrome has to nod their head. Or just okay. A tic is just like the urge to sneeze, cough, or blink. Imagine you guys are in class and you have an itch on the bottom of your foot and you don't want to take the time to take off your shoe and scratch it because people are going to be wondering what that stench is, or you're just too lazy to take off your shoe. Put it that way. What ends up happening is you're most likely focusing on itching, scratching that itch, and not what's going on in class, so it's kind of distracting. That's kind of similar with the tic, because if I'm in class and I have a tic and I don't want a tic because I might distract my classmates or people will think I'm weird or strange, well, what ends up happening is I'm more focused on ticking and not anything else that's going on in class. If I told you guys not to blink for 30 seconds or a minute, a lot of you guys could probably do it, probably. But by the end of that 30 seconds or a minute, you're going to be blinking a lot more than you normally would. Your eyes are going to be all red, they're going to be watery. Same kind of thing with a tic. If you guys told me not to tic for a minute or 30 seconds, I could probably do it, but by the end of that 30 seconds or minute, whatever time frame, I'm going to be ticking a lot more than I normally would and a lot more severely. So the point is that it takes a lot of energy to hold back a tic, and when you're trying to hold back your tic, you can't focus on anything else that's going on in class. Okay, for any of you teachers out there, a good tip for you guys are probably like, wow, I'm getting a tip from an 8th grader. I want to say that if there's a kid in your class that has Tourette syndrome, don't tell them to hold back their tic, because they're not going to be focusing on what's happening in class. So better off just letting them let it out. We talked about some simple vocal tics where you make a sound, but there's also a kind of vocal tic, and it's called a complex vocal tic. And this is where a person has to shout out entire words or phrases, unlike just little sounds like gulping or squeaking. Some examples of complex vocal tics could be shouting out, oh boy, or in the video one of the kids had to shout out metal, metal, or I think coffee, coffee. There's also a kind of complex vocal tic, and this is called coprolalia. Who here knows what coprolalia is? Coprolalia. Okay. Coprolalia is basically when a person has to shout out bad words or curse words as their tic. Not because they're trying to be bad, just because it's their tic, they can't help it, just like their motor tics or vocal tics. Coprolalia also can involve shouting out ethnic slurs. Ethnic slurs are just when a person has to shout out offensive words to a certain race or ethnic group. When people think of Tourette syndrome, a lot of the time they think, oh, the person has to curse and say bad words, but some people do, but not as common as you may think. The main reason for this is because a lot of television shows, the media shows this, like on some comedy shows, there might be a kid with Tourette syndrome coming in and he's cursing, saying all these bad words, and that kind of gives people the idea that Tourette syndrome is all about cursing and saying bad words, when really only 5 to 10% of people with Tourette syndrome has coprolalia. I hope you guys leave here today understanding that Tourette syndrome isn't all about cursing, because coprolalia is rare. I've been flipping the slides. I have. Easy try this. So just like you guys learned about some motor tics, vocal tics, and complex vocal tics, there's also a kind of tic, and it's called a tic of the mind. A tic of the mind is just a thought that gets stuck in our head. An example of a tic of the mind that I had once was when I first started 7th grade. I got introduced to my locker. In PE, I got introduced to my locker, and our PE teacher told everyone to make sure that the locker is closed, shut, and locked by the end of class, because people naughty kids can come and steal your stuff if it's unlocked. I've seen people do that right next to me, but what ends up happening, that kind of got stuck in my mind, I guess you can call it, and for a while, every time I left PE class, I'd have to shake the locker, press that little trigger thing to open it like 10 times, turn the little dial, spin it like 20 times, until I felt that it was 115% locked. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it's called a tick of the mind. It's a thought that gets stuck in our head, and until I take the action, I'm not going to feel like things are completely right. These kinds of tics aren't often seen by other people because they're thoughts and not movements or actions, but yeah, they're very similar to something called OCD. Have you guys heard of that? Yeah, that's pretty common, just like ADHD. So let me move on. Now I'm going to tell you guys some facts about Tourette syndrome. 20% of all children experience tics during some point of their life, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's Tourette syndrome. In order for it to be considered Tourette syndrome, it has to fit this criteria. The tics usually appear between ages 5 and 7. They have to begin before age 18. You have to have at least one motor tic, one vocal tic, and they have to last at least for a year. Tourette syndrome is also 3 times more common in males and females. Wow, I just had a list right there, that was weird. Tics also wax and wane. Who knows here what the term waxing and waning means? Okay, so waxing and waning just means that they come and go. That's what Tourette syndrome does. So that means 1 month I may have really bad tics, really severe, and then 1 week, 1 day, it can be an hour, I may be barely taking 1 or 2 tics here and there. Good. Time to get all scientifical. Tourette syndrome is considered a neurobiological disorder. Neurobiological, this means that there's a chemical imbalance in my brain, or in people with Tourette syndrome's brain. This means that you guys, all have something called little chemical messengers in your brain. So they're these messengers going throughout your whole body, telling you to say these sounds or say these words and telling you to move these body parts. And there's also something called internal stop signs, and you guys all have that too. But these internal stop signs, basically, they tell your body parts and tell you to stop saying these words or sounds and tell you to stop moving these body parts and which ones to stop moving. But people with Tourette syndrome don't have the internal stop signs. So you know what that means? We have motor tics and vocal tics, and you guys got that? Cool. So, like I explained about OCD and ADHD, I like to think of Tourette syndrome as a package. It kind of comes in a package with ADHD and OCD. Oh, why am I standing behind this table? Get out here. So, like I said, it kind of comes in a package with ADHD and OCD. ADHD, you guys probably know what that means. ADHD just stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And getting too tall, man, I'm growing. This makes it really hard for people to, it makes it really hard for a person to focus or pay attention. OCD stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. You guys have probably heard that. OCD is a thought that gets stuck in our head. You guys are probably like, what? Thought a tick of the mind was a thought. You're confusing me. But OCD is associated with a fear. So it's if I don't have this thought or do this action, the person might feel like they're going to die or the world's going to come to an end or some natural disaster is going to happen, some fear. A tic of the mind is a thought that gets stuck in our head, but it doesn't have anything to do with fear. So it's just like a motor tic or a vocal tic, which means if I don't have this thought or do this action, the person might feel like just uncomfortable, just not ready. You guys got that?
Yeah.
Stuttering a lot today, by the way, guys. I don't know why. Weird. Okay, so now I'm gonna do an activity where one of you guys are gonna kind of feel what it's like to have Tourette syndrome. Okay. Kyle, you wanna come on up? I'm his friend, so. Well, I'm all your guys' friend, but, well, not really, but, well, how do I put it this way? Yeah, his mom used to watch me and I was like really little, and he was really little, so, oh, you want to sit down? Great, in a moment, I'm going to give you this to read out loud. So, don't. Right. While you're reading out loud, I'm going to give you 2 ticks. So remember, you're going to be reading out loud, you're going to have these 2 ticks, and it's going to be really distracting, and I'm going to make you suffer really hard, okay? So one tick's going to be a head bob, and the other tick's going to be keep wanting to say a motor tick and a vocal tick, but one tick's going to be a head bob, and one tick's going to be an eye blink. So bob your head. Okay. No, not this side. Okay, good. One's going to be an eye blink. All right. Squeeze them really tight. Make your brain squeeze out your ears. So remember, while you're reading out loud, you're going to have these 2 ticks, and the signal for you knowing when to do these ticks is I'm going to either say bob or blink. So if I say bob, you're going to bob your head twice. So bob. Okay, good. Make your brain really shake. I have to make you suffer, man. I've been living this with my whole life, so. No, it'll last for your whole life. Yeah, I'll explain this. I'll explain all of that, about that later on. So the other tick's gonna be an eye blink. So every time I say blink, you're gonna blink your eyes really tightly. So blink. No, twice. I mean, it's good. I have a heart attack. Okay, so you got it. You know what you're doing. So bob, blink. Okay, good. So this is gonna be. Imagine this is the test. Remember, you should read this out loud. Don't start yet. Still look at me. So imagine this is a test. I expect your reading to be completely clear. You should totally understand what you read, and I hope you feel really stressed out and you suffer painfully. But I mean, not painfully. What the heck? Harshly. I need to go back to school. I mean, I am in school, but I'm so weird. Okay. So you got it? Okay, ready, go. Bob. Blink. Yes. Bob, blink. You only have 60 seconds, keep going. Blink. Bob. Blink, Bob. Freaking out, dude. Go. Blink. Bob, blink. Okay, time's up, dude. No, stay. I'm gonna give you a little. I can't think of the word. So how'd you feel during this exercise? Weird. Was it stressful? Did you understand what you read? No. Okay. Did you feel? I already asked that question. If you didn't have these tics, do you think you would have understood the information better? Yeah? Okay. Thanks for volunteering. Go sit back in your seat now. I hope you. Thank you. Thank you. So now imagine all of you guys were in class right now, and you had these tics, and you were the only one who didn't finish in the whole class. You'd feel pretty embarrassed, embarrassed, yeah. Feel stressed out and just not right. So during this assignment, you only had 2 tics for 60 seconds. And people with Tourette syndrome live with these tics for their whole entire life, and they have way more than just 2 tics. No, I'll just stand behind here. It's more comfortable. So these are just 5 main environmental factors of what can cause tics to be worse and more severe. 1, stress, like you were stressed out and you ticked way more. I made you suffer really, really bad. Stress, anxiety, excitement, fatigue, and illness. Got those down. I'm gonna test you guys later. I'm just joking. So, give me a high five. You don't have Tourette syndrome now. Tourette syndrome is not contagious, which means I can't cough on you or sneeze on you or touch you, and you can't all of a sudden break out in tics or something or have Tourette syndrome. So, if it is contagious, you guys are probably wondering, then how the heck do you get it? Well, it's something you're born with. I mean, I was born with it, and so was my sister. So this basically means that if you're born with it, it's pretty much inherited. And what are some things you guys have inherited from your relatives or parents? Right there. So hair color? Alright. Everyone be quiet. You? Yeah.
Double jointed.
Double jointed? Okay, I guess. You? What? So eye color. Okay, so let me just throw out some basic examples. Like you said, eye color, hair color, even skin color, or your height. Just like those, Tourette syndrome is also inherited. Just like you don't choose whether or not your eyes are green, blue, brown, hazel, whatever, you also don't choose whether or not you have Tourette syndrome. In some families, actually more than one person has Tourette syndrome. Like in my family, both me and my sister both have Tourette syndrome. I think it all started from my mom's side, thanks to you, Mom, but joking. It started from my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side. My grandpa and my mom my grandpa and my grandma, didn't have Tourette syndrome, but they had a few tics, 1 or 2 tics, but it wasn't Tourette syndrome because remember it has to fit that criteria I explained earlier. And then they had my mom had a few more tics, and they had still not Tourette syndrome. She got married to my dad. They met in bar. No, I'm joking. I didn't have to explain that, but they had me and my sister, and me and my sister both have Tourette syndrome to this day. Funny to add in there, it's like out of the blue. So a lot of you guys may wonder how common Tourette syndrome actually is. Well, 1 out of every 1,000 people have Tourette syndrome. However, 1 out of 10,000 people seeks medical treatment. So there's a lot of people out there who have the disorder, but have never really been diagnosed with it. Also, people of all races and ethnic groups out there are affected with Tourette syndrome. Many people actually want to know what causes Tourette syndrome. Well, we do? So you're smarter than like all scientists in the world? Okay. Tourette syndrome, we don't know what causes it, but what we do know, I already explained that. So scientists believe it has something to do with the abnormal regulation of chemical, and it's called dopamine. You guys are probably like, what the heck is that? But I don't even know. Is there a medication that you can take for Tourette syndrome? Well, there's medication that can help lessen the tics, make them not as severe, but there's no like full-on hardcore hardcore medication that can totally take away the tics and cure them. But also medications can have side effects, and this can cause the person to tic less. I haven't been flipping the slides.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm getting.
No,
Help with me, guys.
no, Adam, you're back. You were in the right place.
So yeah, like I said, they have side effects. They can be pretty bad too. But here, so Tourette syndrome is lifelong. Like you guys were like, I thought it only lasted for what'd you say, 2 days? 1 year? I don't know where you guys got that information from, but okay, we have like a certain amount of time, so I have to like hurry up with this. So Tourette syndrome is what?
Because what he was saying is, to be diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, it has to last for at least 1 year. That's in order to have it be called Tourette syndrome.
Got you in your face. So Tourette syndrome is lifelong, like I just said, and it usually starts between ages 5 to 7. Tics do usually get worse in my time right now during puberty and kind of teen years. And I'm gonna for most people, tics do often become milder or less severe in the late teen years, kind of during 18, adultish years. And fortunately, there are some people out there who have the severe symptoms throughout their whole life, but that's not as common. But yeah, it does happen. What's so bad about having Tourette syndrome? People with Tourette syndrome can still live normal lives. They can be involved, not normal lives, there's no such thing as normal life, but you can be, people with Tourette syndrome can still be involved in sports. They can get married, have children, they can get a driver's license, drive a car, etc., etc. But Tourette syndrome can be embarrassing, uncomfortable, and it can interfere with everyday life, just like how Al got to experience during the reading activity. It can make it really hard to concentrate on school or schoolwork. It can be really awkward when meeting new people, because kids with Tourette syndrome don't even have the confidence to explain to them that they have it. Fortunately, I have the confidence to explain to you guys that I have it, but it can also be awkward when meeting new people because they might think you're strange. People with loud vocal tics sometimes can't even go into movie theaters or libraries because, there's people reading in there, there's people watching a movie. So, yeah. Having tics can be pretty exhausting. By the end of the day, your body's totally worn out, like wiped out with all this excitement and movement. When I get home from school, I'm like zonked out, fall on the couch, play Xbox, I don't know. Xbox! So, to get back on topic. Another downside of having Tourette syndrome is that people with Tourette syndrome are often big targets in bullying. Well, you guys have you guys done assemblies here with bullying? Yeah, a lot. People with Tourette syndrome are often big targets for bullying because kids just don't know why they have these motor tics and vocal tics, and it's weird to them and it's like uncool, so they're often big targets for bullying. But bullying isn't just a problem for kids with Tourette syndrome. It's also a problem for kids that are look weird or act weird, dress weird, just stuff like that. Here are some things or ideas of how you can stop bullying. Don't laugh at while someone is being bullied. Don't participate in gossip or spreading rumors. Don't use the internet to hurt someone's feelings, because remember, like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, all that stuff. Yeah, Facebook all the way. So remember, every single thing you post, the whole world can see what you posted. So really think about what you're posting before you post it, because just make sure it's not against anyone on anywhere. And also be a hallway hero. Who knows what a hallway hero is? What do you think it is? Well, kind of, yeah. Hallway hero is just basically. Dude, you play too much Xbox, I swear. A hallway hero is just someone who has the courage to stand up for someone being bullied in the hallway or anywhere else on school or school campus or anywhere out in the world. Actually, statistics show that if just one person stands up for a bully, 50% of the time the bully will stop. So, you guys have probably heard this tons of times, to follow the golden rule. Following the golden rule, whoever doesn't know what that is just this states that to always treat others how you would want to be treated. Because remember, if you call someone something bad, did you really want to be called something bad? No, I don't think so. That was kind of weird. That was geeky, man. Okay, so you guys may have been wondering if I've ever been bullied. These are just a few things about me and how Tourette syndrome has affected my life. Well, having Tourette syndrome, I've never been bullied because of any other things. The main reason for this is because me, my mom, my dad have done a pretty good job of explaining to my teachers and my students about letting them be aware about Tourette syndrome and how I have it, stuff like that. My mom has emailed literally all my teachers from the start of 3rd grade when I got diagnosed with it. She emailed all of them, let them be aware about it, and just, yeah. And also, every class since 3rd grade, I've gotten up and gave a little 2 to 4 minute talk. No, that was a weird difference. 3 to 4 minute talk about this Tourette syndrome. Just let them be aware. It's nothing like this, but just a little brief talk about it. You guys also may have been wondering what's helped me in school. Well, I have something called an IEP plan. Who knows what that is? Not that many kids. Interesting. So, an IEP plan is basically just a plan that gives kids with disorders, or if they have struggle in school, it gives them accommodations. Accommodations could be anywhere from having additional time for the assignments or tests. It can be weird little things like that. Could be like having your desk on the aisle, like in the back of the room instead of the middle of the room, because so you can let out your tick without distracting your classmates as much. Also, I'm allowed to leave the bathroom. I'm allowed to leave the classroom at any time to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water. It just kind of releases my tics. I honestly don't use these accommodations as much, but I use them more in elementary school, but not as much as right now. But they come in handy every once in a while. Some people have wondered if my tics hurt. Some of my tics do hurt. Like when I crack, I have this tic where I have to crack my neck and really strain my neck, and I'll get a lot of neck pain. Yeah, it's this really weird tic where I have to crack and strain my neck. You heard that? Yeah, it really hurts. Over time, it just gives me a lot of pain up here. And also, I have to clap my hands. You guys have probably noticed me clapping today during the presentation. Well, when it's really dry outside, like fall, winter kind of season, when it's really dry, my hands are dry and white. When I clap my hands, sometimes I'll get big scratches right on my hands. It's so dry, it just totally cracks my skin. That's probably it for that part. No, not the whole thing, but we're almost done. So, lastly, I want to leave you guys here with these two best pieces of my advice. The first piece, I always say pieces, I don't know. My first piece of advice is that when you have a difference, try to keep a sense of humor about it because me and my mom, my dad, and my sister like really kept the sense of humor of it. Like I have no problem admitting that Tourette syndrome is a super funny disorder. Like, oh, walking down the street and we're like ticking all over the place and people are like, what are you doing? That came out really weird. But like we're all on the couch and me and my mom and my dad and my sister, we're all watching TV or Survivor, whatever family shows you guys like to watch. Yeah, all the way. I still back. So me and my sister are both like ticking and like setting off all this movement and sound, just totally exploding. And my mom and dad are like, get me out of here, it's bombs away. And it's so funny because I just love to watch them suffer. It's so hilarious. That's part of being a kid. Okay, the second piece of advice is that when you have a difference, try to embrace the fact that you have a difference because it's a part of who you are. It's usually with, well, yeah, it is with you your whole life. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if you embrace the fact that you have Tourette syndrome, people will respect you more, a lot more for that because they're like, oh, he's cool. He has no problem admitting that he's Tourette syndrome, so they'll respect you more for that. Also remember, spoke to me a heck of a lot. There's no such thing as normal. Normal is nothing. Like normal, what is normal? It doesn't even exist. I mean, every person has some struggle, some disability, some challenge. So there's no, like, it can be a challenge to have freakishly long fingernails or some problem. Okay. So don't hide or be uninvolved in sports or activities just because you have a disorder or a difference. Get yourself out there and, you know, just show the world that you're confident. You know, idiots. Now I'm gonna need my mommy to come on up here and ask if you guys have any questions. Just kind of ask, let it in. But the reason I'm asking my mom is because, you know, I'm only 13. I'm not like a doctor, so I don't know questions that really adultish. Like, you guys probably won't have that many. I don't know. Yeah. Questions?
Repeat the question.
Do you remember your tics?
Do I remember my tics? What do you mean remember them?
Like, you after you have them.
Yeah. Like, do I know they're coming? Well, yeah, I remember them. Honestly, I can ride my bike with no hands, so I don't have to.
Hey, repeat the questions, Adam.
I tricked you. Yeah. I've learned how to kind of deal with it throughout my life.
Adam, repeat the question so everybody can hear it. You have the mic, so everybody can listen.
Yeah. You asked, what kind of tics did my sister have? Well, she has, I don't know every single tic, but she has to clap also. She had this one tic for a while where she literally have to completely yell like at the top of her lungs, and I just felt horrible. Like a screech, like. Get you? What? How many tics do I have, or did I have? I don't know. I don't keep count. Like, remember how I said they come and go? That basically also means that I can get new tics, and some tics can go away. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's considered a good thing. You?
If you, in the activity, you were pretending to time trial, when you know that you're being timed for something, does that stress you out more and it's make the tics more?
Yeah, like, because when I'm in class and like I have a certain time limit on my test, but remember I'm on an IEP, so I get as much time as I want. But yeah, it could cause more stress.
Like the
more
state
tics.
testing.
Check a doctor. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know if that's a tic, but not really. You? Wait, can I feel them? feel when my hands touch together. I feel when my head. Oh yeah, I feel the urge of me having the tick. Because remember how I said we have chemical messengers from body parts telling us to move them, and there's nothing stopping them because I don't have internal stop signs. On and on and on. Okay. Well, the thing is that like the chemical messengers signal telling me to do my tick. Like for instance, when I have to clap, like I felt it. I had the time to put that with my right because it's signal telling me, oh, clap your hands. It's giving me a certain feeling in my hands. Oh, you gotta clap. So it's sending me this feeling in my hands to clap. Or when I have to squeak, it's like giving me this feeling in my throat. Hey, squeak. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I have to squeak. Got it? You? Glasses? I actually have a really good friend. That's loud. I have a really good friend named. I'm not gonna point out names. Yeah. I know some people with Tourette syndrome. Red jacket.
If you lose a tick, would you just get another one? Is there always the same number of amount of ticks?
Wait, you say if I have a tick, will I need another one?
You said if you lose the tick, will it be replaced by another one every time? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it can go away, but I don't know if it can. Just sometimes, but maybe not every time. In the white t-shirt, yeah.
Do you ever get the feeling that you don't want to have, you don't want to have today?
So you asked, do I feel if I don't want to have Tourette syndrome? Well, I've been kind of lucky because I guess you can say lucky, like, because my parents have been really supportive, so I've kind of told all my friends about it, but, like, honestly, it bugs a lot. Tourette syndrome does get in the way, but it kind of makes me unique in a way. Like, if I didn't have Tourette syndrome, I probably wouldn't be as encouraged to come up here and do this whole speech to you guys, because, I mean, it makes me unique. Normally, oh wait, you asked, I have to get better repeating questions. So you asked, can you say it again? Sometimes I can suppress it for maybe you asked, God, I keep getting, oh my gosh. Yeah, you asked, can I hold back a tick? Kind of hold it back. I can hold it back for a short amount of time, but eventually I'll have to let it out. I'll have to tick because I'll just be so uncomfortable and I won't be listening to anything that's going on because I'll be distracted by something. What?
Also remember, he said if he holds them back, then when he finally releases them, a lot more come out. Like if you try not to blink, and then when someone says, okay, time's up, you blink now, you're probably going to blink a lot. So it's really hard to suppress them, but you can do it. And we only have time for one more question. How about Mrs. Gillespie?
Okay, this is more geared towards teachers. If a teacher isn't told by a parent that the child in class has Tourette's, how can she tell if that child is possibly going to need to be checked for Tourette's, or if they're maybe just acting out and misbehaving in class? Like, how would you recommend that they deal with that situation?
I mean, if they're seeing a pattern of tics and the parent hasn't said anything, I would think they should probably ask the parent if the parent has taken the child to a doctor and had it checked out. Because, you don't want to diagnose it for them. But you also don't want to think the child's acting out and then punish them when it could be something they can't control. Maybe, I have friends who have kids with Tourette, and until it was diagnosed, they would tell their kids, stop, and they would sort of punish them, and then they felt so guilty later when they realized they actually have this condition and they couldn't control it. So, I mean, I think it's good to be open and talk to the parents frankly and tell them your concern, maybe tell them you saw the presentation and that maybe they should have their child checked out. What? In a play? Oh, like how would you be in a performance if you have Tourette syndrome?
Probably, well, you would do things only that you know you could not have something where you let up the tics. You know, you wouldn't do a play if you had really severe Tourette syndrome. You'd only do, like, I can play basketball. I guess this is one example. Like when I'm playing basketball and I clap my hands, they give me the ball automatically. I'm like, what the heck? Because, my ball.
Sorry, we can't take any more questions because you guys are going to get to go home soon. But if you have any interest in seeing this board, these are all successful people that have Tourette syndrome. And if you want to come up, you're welcome to come up and look at it. And also, you should be getting or already got a flyer from your teachers about Tourette and a way to contact us if you know anyone that would want to present at their school.